In this next lesson, we are going to learn about sequences, and before that, we need to study all the intervals and the number of semitones for each interval. Let's take a look at the major column. Here we have the major second has 2 semitones, and the major third has 4 semitones, and the major sixth has 9 semitones, and the major seventh has 11 semitones. You can see there are no major fourths or fifths or eighths because we have perfect intervals, so we don't have any majors or minors for the fourth, fifth and eighth. So if you take a look at the minor column, it's always 1 semitone less than the number of semitones which you see on the major column. And then you can study the perfect intervals. You'll have the perfect fourth with 5 semitones, and the perfect fifth will have 7 semitones, and finally the perfect octave will have 12 semitones. So take some time to study this and memorize the number of semitones, and then let's dive into your lesson. Today we're going to take a look at page 31 and page 32, and we're going to learn about the real and tonal sequences. If you can remember, we learned about a sequence in grade 2. A sequence means a pattern of notes that keeps moving up or down from the same intervals. As you can see in the examples given below, a real sequence means that you will have the same type of intervals and the numbers. You can see in this first example we have a major second from C to D, and D to E will have a major second, and the next sequence will also move from a major second up from D to E, and then E to F sharp will also have a major second. So you can see this sequence is formed with the same number of intervals like the first one. But a tonal sequence means you will have the same number of intervals, but there can be different types. For example, it can be a major and it can be a minor. This is the same pattern that we have repeated on the second example, which has 2 major seconds. But in this second one, you will have from E to F will have a minor second because it has 1 semitone apart. The second pattern is built from a major second plus a minor second. So you might need a keyboard when you're working this out. So I'm going to take out my keyboard. Alright, let's take a look at your exercise 1. Write a bracket to show the sequence, then label it real or tonal. So you need to take a look at these patterns that are repeating. It's moving down step by step. So we're going to take a look at each bracket, and the first one will be your original sequence. So you got to compare the rest of the sequences with this first one. So you have the first one as C to B flat. So you have 2 steps down. So I'm going to write this as a major second from C to B flat. I'm going to write a capital M for major seconds, and I'm going to write simple M for minors. Okay, so the next one, we are moving from B flat to A. So that's going to be 1 semitone apart, and it's going to be a minor second. As you can see, it's not the same here, so it's called a tonal sequence. Alright, so make sure you take note of the key signatures given. Now here we have a B flat, so that's why I took all of these B's as B flats. Okay, so then the last sequence, it's moving from G to F. So G, it also has 2 steps. So this is going to be again a major second. So I'm going to write capital M2. If it's the same as the original, then it's called a real sequence. And let's dive into your second question. So the first one is moving from D to B. It's moving down a third. Okay, so that's going to have 3 steps down. So it's a minor third. So I'm going to write simple M. And the next we have B to C. We'll have 1 semitone. So that's going to be a minor second that has one semitone apart. And the next is going to be from C to D. So then we have a major second. And the last one moving from D to E. So again we have a major second. So this sequence is built from a minor third, minor second, major second, and another major second. It keeps going down from another major second, from E to D, again it will be a major second, and then D to C, again a major second, and C to B, again a minor second. And let's find the next pattern and see if it's the same. So the next pattern starts from C and it goes down to A. So we have again minor third, and then we have from A to B we have a major second. Now you can see there's a difference, because on the second interval we had a minor second from B to C, but this time we have a major second from A to B. So I don't really need to check all of these intervals, but I'm gonna go on until I find a difference between each other. Okay, so this one's a tonal sequence. So I'm gonna take a look at the next sequence and gonna compare this with the original, which is moving from D to E. From D to E I have two semitones apart, so that's going to be a major second. And then E to F I have one semitone apart, so that's going to be a minor second. This sequence is built from a major second and a minor second. Let's take a look at the next sequence. It's moving from F to G. Okay, again we have a major second. Next, it's moving from G to A. Now you can see the second interval is also a major second. So there's a difference between each other, although they are both seconds. This one is moving from major second to minor second, and the next one is moving from 2 major seconds up. So this will be called a tonal sequence again. Okay, so here's my next pattern, and I'm gonna compare this with the first one. So we have 3 A's on the first bar, and then another A that moves down to a D. So it's the same note. Okay, okay, and the next sequence we are going from G, G, C, E, G. Okay, right. So we have the first interval moving from A to D, or you can count it from D to A, from the lowest to the highest. D, E, F, G, A. So now it's a fifth. You know, a fifth will always be called a perfect fifth. So I'm going to write capital P and 5. Next interval from D to F. So D, E, F is a minor third. We have 3 steps up. And then finally I have from F to A. So we have a major third, F, G, A, and 4 semitones apart. So let's compare the next sequence with the same. We have G moving down to C, G moving down to C, or you can take it from C going up to G. Okay, C, D, E, F, G. So we have 5 steps up. Again, this one is a perfect fifth. So you can quickly find this out if you take a look at the number of lines that moves down. So from G you skip the next line down, which is the E, and then you go to the C, which is on the next line. So if you see line, skip line, or space, skip space, that's going to be a distance of a perfect fifth. And the next is moving from C to E. C, D, E. We have 4 steps up. And this is going to be a major third. Next we have from E to G. Okay, again we have a minor third. Now you can see there are differences in these two sequences. So this one will also be called a tonal sequence. Let's take a look at the next page. We have B. Now this is in the bass clef. There's an F sharp here in your key signature. So B is moving down to A. B to A we have a major second, and A to G again we have a major second. So this is built out of 2 major seconds. And let's find out the next sequence. It's moving from A to G, again major second, and G to F sharp. Now that's going to be a minor second. So it's different from the first one. So again we have another tonal sequence. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. Next we have to bracket this sequence and compare it with the first one. So we have okay, so you can see the first interval is moving from an octave from A to A, and then it goes down a semitone to a minor second from A to G. So it's built from an octave plus a minor second, and the next sequence is also built from B flat to B flat. We have an octave and it goes down to A, 1 semitone down. So perfect octave plus a minor second. They both have the same type of intervals. So you can write this as a real sequence. So let's take a look at the next one. We have B flat moving up to a C. So we have a major second and then a bunch of C's. Okay, so it's just 2 notes, B flat to C, major second, and the next sequence we have A to B flat. Okay, just 2 notes. That's going to be a minor second, so it's not the same. We can write this as another tonal sequence. Take a look at the next one. We have the key signature of D major, F sharp, and C sharp. So the first interval is moving down from D to C sharp. It's 1 semitone down, so that's going to be a minor second. And then the next sequence is moving down from E to D. Okay, so from E to D we have 2 steps down, so that's a major second. So again we have another tonal sequence. Let's take a look at the next question. We have again the key signature of D major, F sharp, and C sharp. So the first note is moving from F sharp to the next note A. So we have 3 semitones up from F sharp. That's going to be a minor third. Then from A to G we have a major second down. So it's a minor third and a major second. Let's take a look at the next one. E to G is also a minor third. As you can see, there's 3 steps up, and then it moves down 1 step down to a minor second. So you can see from A to G we had a major second, but this time it's a minor second. So it's going to be another tonal sequence. I hope you can complete the rest of the exercises. It's going to take some time for you to figure it out, so make sure you have your keyboard next to you, or use the keyboard that is at the back of your workbook, and let's complete the rest. Alright, so I'm done with this question. You can complete up to page 32 and send your answers. So make sure you double check all of them, and have a great week.